YouTube 101, stick to your niche. That's what they tell you to do. But I'm going to violate that rule right now because I am so pissed off. Well, actually, I'm not. I was pissed off, but I'm much better now. The Texans look like they were on their way to get their asses kicked by the Tennessee Titans. Now, that's fine. Our quarterback's in the concussion protocol and yada, yada, yada. Now, what my issue was, and it really irritates me, and I might be the only one, but why the hell do we have to get our asses kicked by the Titans wearing their old Houston Oilers uniforms? Now, I'm bitter fan because I feel like I got abandoned by the Houston Oilers, and they were terrible. They always broke my heart. They could never beat Pittsburgh. They had the loss to Buffalo, and every time I felt like Charlie Brown. Every time I believed in them, they would pull the ball away, and I would be left hanging. I guess my happiest Houston Oiler moment was because my sister lives in Tennessee. So when they went there, I laughed at her and said, "Yeah, they'll break your heart. You watch it." I said to her husband, my brother-in-law, I said, "They'll break your heart. That's what they do. That's what their DNA was." And I loved it when they came up a yard short in the Super Bowl. It was a happy moment for me because I was hate watching that game because I was like, "You sons of bitches, you guys have been breaking my heart all these years. You're gonna move to Nashville and win a Super Bowl on me? Are you kidding me?" So yes, yeah, I have a very troubled relationship with the Tennessee Titans. Which brings me to the game today. I actually love seeing the old Columbia Blue uniforms. I grew up watching them. I like them. I know they're ugly in a lot of ways, but I like them because I grew up on them. I think of Earl Campbell having his jersey ripped off, and Greg Bingham, and Grimsley, and Renfro, and Kenny Burrow, and Dan Pastorini, and everything with it, and love it. I do. I love it, and I like seeing the uniforms. A part of me makes me happy, but the other part irritates me because I think when Cleveland lost their team, there was so much boo-hooing. Oh my God, how could they do this to Cleveland? They moved them out in the middle of the night. It was so unfair, like what happened to the Baltimore Ravens, and oh, how terrible, yada, 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 yada. But when the Houston Oilers left for Tennessee, nobody cared. Nobody gave a damn, which sort of pisses me off because if you know the history of this, the reason Houston did not build a new stadium was because their owner, Bud Adams, yeah, double fingered waving Bud Adams, essentially he was like a gangster with the Houston Sport. And trust me, the Houston Sports Authority, they weren't nice people either because they ran that Astrodome like they made their money off the Houston Livestock Show, and they would never change the turf, so they'd always be playing on that hideous field, which was terrible. But before the Houston Oilers left, like 5 to 8 years before, Bud Adams wanted more. Basically, he wanted more seating in the stadium. And he did a whole trip of going to Jacksonville and parading at Jacksonville and saying, "Ooh, I like Jacksonville. This might be a nice place to move my team." And I can't remember if he went to San Antonio. He did the tour, did like the usual owner thing, and went to go tour 5 sites. And basically, the Houston Sports Authority relented, and they granted him like they spent $100 million or something like that, adding new seats, and at the time installing a Diamond Vision. I think that was the big thing. Is, oh my God, we need a Diamond Vision so the fans can see crappy replays of the game at the stadium. So they did this, and everything was good. And then sure enough, like 3 or 4 years later, he demands a new stadium built because he starts looking around and everybody's getting new stadiums built, and I want mine. And the Houston Sports Authority misjudged and said, "You're a long-time Houston guy. No chance in hell you're moving this team to Nashville." And what do you know? He did it. And they had the weird thing where they went to Memphis first for a few years before they moved into Nashville, and it was done. And then all the players that sort of were on the terrible Houston teams like McNair and the running back Eddie George and so on, they blossomed just in time for Nashville to make it to the Super Bowl. But there was never anything of, oh, poor Houston Oiler fan. And then we got our expansion franchise, and in the Houston Texans, and their whole thing was like, oh, we're going to be as far removed from that as possible. We're not going to recognize the past because the Houston Oilers were so bad and everything else, and we're just going to disavow that because we're going to be the Houston Texans, which is a ridiculous name. I hate it, by the way. I still like the Texans, but I don't like the name. I do like their helmets, so I will give it to that. But I think overall, I wish they would have kept the Houston Oilers jersey and everything that I grew up on. I'm curious to see what Oiler fans think as well. If you're happy that they switched the franchise and went to the Houston Texans, or in short, do you wish they would have gone to being or stayed the Houston Oilers, much like the Cleveland Browns were able to retain their jersey and name? So ultimately, that's the point of this video. I wanted to see if there were other disgruntled Texan fans like me that sort of have a pang of nostalgia and wish that the old Houston Oilers jerseys would survive. I mean, Bill Parcells said it once, and goddamn, he's right. He said, fans, they don't root for players and coaches, and I think that's been proved with free agency. As soon as a player leaves my team, they're dead to me in a lot of ways. So I don't wish them any ill, I'm telling you, but we do root for jerseys. We root for laundry. That's what we're essentially going for. And basically, the Houston Oilers were the laundry of my childhood, and it just irritates me that it's not still there, and that not only that, it's a big game today. And for a while, I thought my team, the Houston Texans, because I have to root for them because I'm a Houston boy, born and bred. My team, who's now this different team, is going to be beaten by my childhood team, and it's just all confusing and irritating. Thank Christ the Houston Oilers came back and lost. The Houston Oilers, in typical style, found a way to lose, just like I saw in my childhood. So that was pretty damn good, because that's what they do. If there's a chance to win it and it's all in their favor, they will blow a game. And goddamn, the Houston Oilers lived up to their legend. But I still have a pang of missing the old Houston Oiler number, jersey and helmets and everything else, and I wish it was still there. You tell me, am I just an old fart that likes things and doesn't like change? Am I old man now, and I don't like change? Da 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 da. And yeah, give me your poison. Anything. Again, different video. If you liked it, great. Give it a like. If you hated it, then yeah, give me your poison and tell me why I'm just a grumpy old man. Thanks a lot for watching.